Hi, I'm Dilio, and I'm going to talk about what I learned after making 100 beats for 100 days. Let's dive right into it. The first thing that I learned is how to make beats when I don't feel like it. I think every producer goes through a process where they want to make beats, or they got all the sounds they need, they got all the plugins they need, they got all the keyboards they need, they got all the samplers they need, but they still come home after work every day and don't get on the equipment. Well, I had a problem with that because that was one of my issues. I would go to work every day back in the summer, or even before that. I would go to work every day and come home, head straight to the chair, go play some Tekken and chill out, and then check some Netflix, get something to eat, and not make music. Well, that's not something I wanted to do. I don't think that's a good thing to have. So this challenge helped me to make beats when I don't feel like it. So for example, let's say I'm tired and life is lifing, because everybody says life is lifing now. I was tired, and because I had my mind made up to do the challenge, I will go lay down and then say, hey, I still got a beat to make today, and get up out of that bed before going to sleep. Or coming home from doing a live show and it was going late, and I got back up and got on a live stream and made a beat at like 1 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the morning, because I had my mind made up on doing that. So I think it's very important to take note of that it's very important to do this creative stuff when you don't feel like it. We can't always depend on it being a good time. You have to actually have a mentality. I think that relying on inspiration too much can be detrimental to your career. I think it could be detrimental to your creativity. Sometimes you just have to really lock in and do that and make that your main thing. I didn't want gaming to be my main thing or my main outlet. I had a problem with being good at a video game and not being good at music. That was just my personal conviction. It may not be yours, but making music when you don't feel like it is very important, because that's how you get projects done. You can't always rely on emotions to be the trigger to getting you to create music. Another thing that I learned is that you can take this mentality of the small thing that you can do every day and apply it to other things in your life, whether it be weight loss, meal prepping, cleaning a certain part of the house, a certain part of the yard. You can take that mentality and say, okay, look, I got a big job, I got a big task ahead of me, but I know if I go all out, I'm probably going to do it for 2 hours and then stop. But if you have your mind that, okay, there's a little bit that I can do every day, then that's what I'm going to do. And actually you can develop a consistency in that. So what that shows me is it's like, okay, Dilio, if you can be consistent in this, what are some other places that could use some work in your life that you could be consistent in to improve that? And so seeing that for myself shows me that, hey, yeah, you can do this if you put your mind to it. And I got to be honest with you, I almost quit at like beat 23 because I had an issue with nobody coming to the live streams. Let's just be honest about it. But then I said, all right. Actually, a friend of mine who was there at that live stream came and said, no, don't quit. And so I said, all right, I'm gonna keep going. And now here we are 100 beats later. So even I had my weak points, but once I got over that hump, I was good. So I wasn't flawless, I wasn't perfect, but I was constructive and I was instrumental. I got it done. I did the work. Which goes into my next point, is that this challenge reduces your need for affirmations, comments, likes, and all that stuff. Once I finally had it made up in my mind that I was doing this, it mattered to me less and less who was coming to the live streams or who was listening. Now, I didn't mind more of a public thing, and with that comes certain challenges. You're hearing comments, you're seeing crazy comments. It actually takes energy to ignore dumb comments. It actually takes energy to ignore things that people do. And sometimes maybe those people don't know, but you don't really know who you're dealing with on the other side of the camera, because all you see is screen names. You don't see any other people. But I think that when you reduce your need for affirmations or comments or things like that, and you have your mind made up on doing the thing, I think that's very powerful. I think that the way social media is right now, the way things are set up right now with these companies, it's set up to really sort of define your value based upon how many comments and likes you get. And it's kind of like a troublesome thing, because maybe a lot of people go on there to consume content, and I get that, but I don't think there's anybody who posts on there that doesn't have a certain want or interest in getting replies back or some sort of information or some sort of connection back. That sort of thing, especially as content creators, we deal with that on a regular basis. They may not say it, but they are watching their analytics every day. They're watching their studio every day, even though they may not say it, but that's the truth. So doing this challenge every day, or picking a thing you can do every day, a little, regardless of whether you post it or not, or anything like that, will help you develop a better work ethic and I think it just reduces your need for it. Again, learning this challenge definitely helps me develop an after work ethic. This goes back into life be life and right. Life be life and life be life. And as everybody says, well, I didn't take care of this because life be life. Or I didn't take care of that. Life be life. And life has been life and before we said life was life. And I think that it's hard. It's a challenge when you're working a 9 to 5 and you're taking care of what you got to take care of. And you still have to come home and take care of other things, right? Or you choose to take care of other things because they are your responsibilities. And for me, the thing was, okay, I used to come home, maybe grab some food, get some teching in or something like that, or watch a nice anime on Netflix or just chill out and then just kind of just do whatever it is I want to do. But the problem is there's work to be done. There's music to be made. There's maybe some videos that need to be made, YouTube, or maybe a tutorial, or maybe a song to write. There's all kinds of things that I should be doing. And a lot of times we don't do them because we're tired from work. However, I think it's very important that if you're going to show up for work, you need to show up for yourself too after work. Doing this challenge helped me to see that, helped me develop that, and helped me to cultivate that. One thing I noticed was the styles of music that I gravitated to versus the styles that I didn't gravitate to. So in this case, I gravitated more to the trap zone R&B stuff, maybe a little bit of 90s stuff. I actually did a Michael Jackson track, but I didn't really do like a lot of reggaeton, a lot of dance, a lot of other genres that I didn't really dive into that I would like to study and make on my own time in private without really a lot of critique. And you really see what styles you gravitate to, and that's good. It kind of gives you a blueprint or a dot map of what you're strong at and what you're weaker at and what you should try and develop in if you want to be that type of music producer. Also, the benefit is now I have a catalog of 100 tracks that I can use for different things. Maybe some artists need some music or something like that. You ever have a time where you got an artist or somebody say, hey man, you got some tracks? And most of the time my answer is like, no, not really, because I have tracks, but not for you. I have tracks, but I haven't really determined what to do with them. And a lot of times artists don't really lead with money. So therefore you're like, okay, well, you're not really, yeah, you got tracks, but are you trying to buy on? Well, now that I have 100, I can pitch it here, pitch it there. Not really so worried about the loss of monetization, because I think it's like a marketing tool. If you can get the more hands you can get your beats into, the more likelihood maybe there might be an opportunity for monetization of it. But if you're holding on to your beats so tight, like toast, if you're holding on to your beats so close and so tight to your chest, maybe there's an opportunity there that might be missed. I don't know. I can't call that for you. I don't have the accolades that a lot of producers have, but maybe the more beats you put, the more beats that people have of yours could lead to more opportunities. Maybe, I don't know. I know what it means. I know what it looks like to keep your beats close to your chest. I know what that looks like. It's pretty much you're in the same thing, but I think that changing my mentality and evolving and growing could help me do that, and probably could help you do the same as well. And also, just at the end of the day, it helps you care less about what other people think. There's going to be people that are going to say good things, bad things all the time. We get that. And this is a tool to help you care less about what other people think, because people are going to say whatever they want to say, especially if you do it on the internet. Trust me, I got people saying that I'm doing tracks. That there are people on the internet right now that are saying that some of the tracks that I post on my shorts are AI, when I have a whole live stream video of me making it from scratch, sequencing everything by hand, selecting the sounds by mouse, sequencing together with the buttons, and they're still calling it AI. So, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you're going to do. It don't matter. There's always going to be somebody, there's going to be some weirdo on the internet that has something negative to say about you. So you might as well get used to it. And this is one of the ways I got used to it. It's like, okay, yeah, you could say what you want. You're not going to do your research. That's fine. I'm still going to do this right here. And I think that's probably the most important thing, especially if you do this in front of people like how I did, is that people are going to have something to say, no matter how good or how bad, whatever. They're going to have something to say, probably something negative to say. And it's your job, I think, to focus on the positive, because like I said, it's just a bunch of weirdos on the internet, right? All right, so that's my results from doing 100 beats. I hope this helps and inspires somebody to do their thing. If it's not beats or just something else in your life, I hope it inspires you to do that. I'm Delio. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you later.